The camera had been left on by mistake. Teodora Reyes had meant to turn off the living room camera before bed. It was a habit she had gotten out of, and she had not done it. This is the only reason the footage exists. If she had turned it off, there would be no footage. If there were no footage, there would be no story anyone would believe. Their Doberman's name was Cosimo. He was 5 years old, 74 pounds, and slept in the bedroom doorway the way he always had, a choice he had made in puppyhood and never reconsidered. On the night of March the 9th at 3:14 in the morning, Cosimo stood up. The camera caught him rising from his position in the doorway. He turned to look into the bedroom at Teodora and her husband, Raphael, for 3 seconds. He walked to the nursery at the end of the hall. He stood outside the nursery door. He pressed his nose to the door gap. He held it there for 4 seconds. Then he went back to the bedroom doorway, stood over Raphael's side of the bed, and put his paw on the mattress twice. Not hard. Twice. Raphael woke up. He said later that it felt like being notified rather than startled. Cosimo was already moving back to the nursery by the time Raphael was upright. What happened in those 11 seconds, the press of the nose, the 2 taps, the return, is what the footage shows. Raphael followed. He opened the nursery door. His daughter Valentina, 8 weeks old, was in her crib in a position that had changed from the last feed. She had shifted during sleep, and her face was partially into the edge of a rolled positioning wedge. Her breathing obstructed in the way that does not immediately alarm a monitor, but does change the oxygen profile of the air near the mattress. If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Raphael repositioned her. She was fine. Her color was fine. Her breathing normalized immediately once her position was corrected. The emergency room doctor who reviewed the footage the next morning, because Raphael had gone to get Valentina checked and had brought his phone, said the scenario described was consistent with positional airway partial obstruction in an infant. She said the outcome in an 8-week-old depended heavily on duration. She said he woke you up quickly. She looked at Cosimo, who had come to the ER because Teodora had not wanted to leave him home. She said, "Has he done this before?" Raphael said, "No." She said, "Well." She looked at the footage one more time. She said, "He counted the door correctly." She said that as though it were remarkable, which it was. The nursery door was between 2 other doors. Has your pet ever done something that made no sense until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. The positioning wedge was removed from the crib. Teodora now turns off the camera before bed every night, except sometimes she forgets, which means the camera is sometimes still running, and she finds herself, after checking it in the morning, aware that she is grateful for the things that happen when she is not paying attention. Every guardian deserves to be recognized, even the ones who never asked for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Some nights he gets up once and goes to stand outside the nursery. He stands there for a few seconds and then comes back. Raphael is always awake when this happens. He does not know if Cosimo knows that. He lies still and counts the seconds until Cosimo returns, and when the footsteps come back, he exhales and closes his eyes. The next story involves a Labrador who refused to let a toddler touch a specific toy for 3 days, and what the recall notice said when it arrived a week later.